Okay, I'm not going to play the intro video today because this is a totally different show. This is Driving with Mario Mancini, episode one.
This is the only way. The only way we could fit it in. I had a late appointment, and I got class in an hour at Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. I got to teach, so this is the only way we could fit in the first show of the new year, 2023.
Yeah,
So, hey, any way we could get it in. I mean,
that's what she said.
yeah. Well, speaking of something like that, Maurice, I mean, what if I told you that every night before I went to bed, I took half a stick of butter, melted it, put it between my ass cheeks, rubbed them together, then went to sleep? What would you think if I said that?
I would think, is that something that Pat Patterson taught you?
Well, no, I mean, but well, you could think that, but the point I'm making is, which obviously I don't, but if I did, is it anybody's business that I do that? Number one. Number two, am I hurting anybody if I do that, or just really going through, 52 sets of bed sheets every year? I mean, am I hurting anybody? I'm not hurting anybody. Anybody's personal preference and the privacy of their own home, or who they do it with, or how they do it, is nobody's business, unless it's hurting somebody or abusing somebody. And that leads me in, and believe me, this guy is not going to go on his show and say, thank God Mario Mancini spoke up for me, but man, I'm sick of hearing negative shit about Jim Cornette and his wife and what he does. Let me tell you something. If Jim Cornette goes to bed with his wife, and then, a relative of Skylo Low comes out of his closet with a Marvel mask on and a gag ball in his mouth, and he jumps in bed with him, who the hell's business is that? Nobody's business, man. He's not hurting anybody. Jim Cornette's like this, and Jim Cornette likes this, and all right, so did Jim Cornette abuse anybody? Did he use his position at Smoky Mountain Wrestling to abuse somebody with it? Like, a gentleman that's deceased, you just mentioned his name when it came to the butter. I mean, he used his position to intimidate people, coerce people, abuse people. I mean, enough already. So I can leave, it's Jim. Meanwhile, the people that are criticizing him, probably have people tied up downstairs in their basement. You know what I mean? So I don't, I don't get it, man. I just, what people do, they do, man. I remember when I was coming back from Yankee Stadium back in the late '80s with a date. I was coming back from Yankee Stadium, and we stopped off on the way back from Yankee Stadium in this adult store that you go in the back and put tokens in and watch movies. And they had couples booths back there. And, and we did what young kids do, man. We went up there, gave them our $5 for the tokens, went back there, and we, so what are they going to say? Mario Mancini, when he was 22 years old, took a girl to a porn store, went into the back where they show videos and had sex with her in a booth? Okay. Yeah, and
I think I think you should try get booked for a convention in Amsterdam. That's what I think after hearing that.
So what? Jim Cornette. Okay, so what? You what do you want to do? Call the guy a weirdo? Hey, man, listen, we're all weirdos for being in the wrestling business. We had to have something wrong with us in order to want to be in the wrestling business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not that there was anything wrong with us, but there's a certain characteristic of someone who wants to go in there and do what God didn't intend your body to do. You know what I mean? And I'm feeling it today. I don't know if it's the sinus infection or what, but let me tell you something. My back is crippled today. So Jim Cornette doesn't need me to talk for him, and I met him, I like him, and I know I'm going to see him again because Scott Wilder, has him on a hit list to book. I know I'm going to see him again. So when I do see him, I'm just going to close my eyes and go, okay, let's get it over with. Just give it to me so we can shake hands. We can shake hands and we can continue to talk. Jim, just lay me out and get it done with. Open up your fucking mouth, blah, 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 blah. Basically the same shit that Strongbow would give me if he was alive. And, I was talking to, unfortunately I had to see a client, but I was right in the middle of some great stories with Strongbow's best friend again, which again, I will keep very private because in honor of Chief, who was a very private guy, had a very small circle, and he didn't. His big thing was keep your mouth shut. I wish if he ever gave me permission to share some of them, I would, but out of respect for him, definitely out of respect for Chief, these are private stories, and boy, I've really been enjoying them about Strongbow, and I'm yet to get on the phone with him, and I want to do that this week because Lord knows I haven't had time. But I really want to get on the phone with him this week. The thing is I know I'm trying to pick a time to get on the phone with him because I know when I do, I have to block out. I'm probably going to have to block out about 3 hours to talk to him about Strongbow. So I just really happy and blessed that I have this gentleman to talk to keep Chief alive. I mean, every time I see a story, I got a big smile on my face and I'm laughing, and I can hear Chief I can hear him in my head. But he sent me a pair of his trunks, and just by coincidence, the 8x10 I have in my office, Chief is wearing those exact trunks that he sent me.
Cool.
So I'm going to Michael's, and I'm going to get one of those jersey frames. I'm going to put his trunks in that frame with the 8x10 and hang it up at my office. I was thinking about hanging it up at a wrestling school, but I don't want the thing to disappear. Not saying that it would, but
you can't be there all the time.
I'm going to hang it up at my office, but it's just this stuff with Cornette just really irks me because he's contributed so much to the wrestling business. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that we said that before about him anyway. I think I've never spoke badly of him, or I don't think anyone has on the podcast before. But what I was going to say to that is, if people don't know the story, there was a story going around last week that apparently the Big Show slept with his wife, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Is what it is. There's no real shock value in that. And I guess it was a shock value because of the size of the man, I suppose, and it just made a good story to put out there. But there's really no substance of proof to it. Thankfully,
listen. I don't know. I don't care. Because of the whole Taker thing, I had with Mark Henry. I don't know those guys. I never met those guys. Those guys weren't my time. Mm-hmm. And the guys I talked to, wish. David Schultz got a hold of me. Christmas time. I wish each other Merry Christmas. Tony Atlas, guys like the Don Morocco. Those are my people. Those are my people. I stick with my people.
While we're on this subject, I seen what happened last night in America with the guy with the serious injury there in the football game, concussion, obviously.
Yeah.
Did anything?
A concussion?
Yeah.
Yeah, he died on the field, Maurice.
He died in the end, did he?
No, not in the end. He died on the field. They had to bring a defibrillator in to get his heart started again.
I didn't know he died. And what was it from? From the force?
From the hit. Now, I went to law school. I didn't go to medical school, but they have a term for it. What they're saying is, if you get hit at the beat of your heart, you're okay. It's kind of like getting struck by the chances of winning the Powerball getting struck by lightning. supposedly he got hit when his heart was between a beat, and
Fucking hell.
that's what made his heart stop. So he was intubated, helping him breathe. They took that out. He's breathing on his own. So it looks like, hopefully, God willing, this 24-year-old young man, this young athlete, will make it out of it as a human being to live his life. As far as playing football anymore, I don't think that's going to happen. But hopefully he'll get to live a full life.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was no concussion. His heart stopped on when he dropped, he was dead. And
Fucking
they
hell.
did CPR. They worked on him for 9 minutes. They did CPR, that didn't work, so they had to bring the defibrillator in to get his heart started again, and then they brought him to the hospital. So
Did you
that's
ever see
why they don't
anything?
know.
Did you ever see anything scary like that happening in your time?
Well, no. The first thing I thought of, and of course it was after my time, I wasn't there. The first thing I thought of was Owen Hart.
Yeah.
And the next thing I thought of was, well, the NFL had enough class to say, we're not playing the game. Whereas the WWE said the show must go on after Owen died.
Mm.
And to this
Yeah.
day, the majority of the boys that were there and the boys that weren't there still say to this day that show should have gone on
Yeah.
after Owen died, after they reported that he was dead. So, um, no, I've never seen anything like that. I remember when I was younger, um, when I was really young, I was watching a Yankee game, and it was a real hot day, and there was a real overweight umpire behind the plate, and between innings, he was coming to home, resume behind the plate, and he took one step, and he did a face bump, and he died right there. He had a heart attack and died right there on the field. Um, of course, wrestlers have died in the ring, heart attacks and stuff. Look at Kurt DiBiase's father
Yeah.
died in the ring. Um, I've never seen anything like that with professional football, though. I've seen pretty bad injuries.
Mm.
Um, I mean, if you YouTube, when Joe Theismann broke his leg, you'll throw up. I've seen injuries like that. I mean, it's just a disgusting break. Um, with the Washington Redskins, well, they're not the Redskins anymore, but
Oh,
the
you're not allowed to
Commanders.
say that. I believe you're
No,
not.
no, the Washington Commanders. So,
Mm.
um, but I've never seen anything like that. No, and like I said, it's like something that like one in a million shot to happen, and it happened. So
Yeah.
that was it was rough.
Yeah. A lot of people were asking last time. I've sent in a few questions afterwards, and they want to hear Mario Mancini's Haku stories because apparently Haku has got the best stories.
Well, I have that one story when I worked with them.
Mm.
Um, the fans need to know that 99% of the time, and I'm going to see Haku again in July. I might see him again in May at the 80s con. But 99% of the time, we were Haku in the dressing room or out. He had a big smile on his face, nicest guy in the world. Laugh. All he liked to do was laugh. That's all he wanted to do was laugh. I never saw him lose his temper. You know, most of those stories came from the other territories. But by the time Haku got to New York, which we call the WWF New York, once he got to New York, those legendary stories were already in place, and nobody messed with him. You had to be out of your mind to mess with Haku. But that's the only that's the only story I got when I basically felt like this, like I feel now,
Yeah.
run down, and ready to sleep for 12 hours just because I have a sinus infection. They finally called my antibiotics. Said after I get through this traffic, I'm gonna go and get them. But when I worked with them, I was like a limp noodle because Terry Garvin had told me that the town I was going to in Pennsylvania was like 40 miles east of Philadelphia. And Johnstown, PA ended up being like 40 miles east of Pittsburgh, and it was like 416 miles one way. So I was like, so I got there by 8 o'clock, and Gorilla Monsoon was there, and he looked at his watch. I go, Gino, you know, Garvin told me this was 40 miles east of Philly, and he went, ah, ha, 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 ha. I go, yeah, real funny. Because there was no GPS. There was, we had paper maps in the glove compartment, and that's what we'd go off of, the paper maps. So I guess without me knowing, being conscious of it, I was tired. So because I worked the night before too. So when I went to lock up with him, I must have been like a limp noodle, and and he pushed me into the ropes, and the referee said, break it, and he planted one right in my belly, open hand slap, right in my stomach, hard, and I went, ooh. And then he took me in a headlock and took me down. He goes, "Are you up now?" I went, "Uh-huh, I'm up." And we had a good match. Probably still not as good as I could have done. So when we went back to the dressing room, we shook hands and hugged and everything. I had his 5 finger marks in my stomach, and I said, "Oh man, how cool! I owe you one." He went, "What?" I went, "What?" He goes, "What do you mean you owe me one?" I said, No. I owe you a better match. I owe you a better match. I owe you a better match than that. A better match." He goes, "Oh, ha, ha, ha. Oh, okay. I said, No, I could do better than that. You know that. Yeah. Just a little tired. I go, "Yeah, I owe you a better match." Imagine, look at that guy saying, "Hey, I owe you one. I owe you a receipt." Forget, you're dead. You're not going to walk away with your life, And there is the man himself. No one could duplicate this gentleman. There's only one.
There he is.
The guardian of chaos, Big Daddy.
Always got your back.
Listen.
Is Mario driving? Yes.
Yeah. Listen. Don't. Big Daddy doesn't like my driving.
Mario's driving, and he's got like a woman beneath his waist as well there at the moment. So
I'm going. Just so you know, Big Daddy, I'm going 3 miles an hour. So so I was telling Big Daddy, kind of blew him away. I was talking to him earlier and the other day, and I said, it's 2023, and he's like, yeah. I go, well, next year, 2024, we'll be able to say 40 years, because that I will know Big Daddy 40 years, and at that point I'll be 58. So I met him when I was 18 years old. So pretty astounding and amazing, the relationships that I've built in this business over the years. And I got to tell you, Big Daddy and I haven't seen each other in a long time over the years, but anybody who crossed paths with the both of us, they usually have, saw him first, and every single time Big Daddy would say, "Hey, by the way, if you bump into Mancini, tell him I said hello." Every person I crossed that I bumped into that saw him said, "Hey, I saw Big Daddy, and he told me to give you his best." I'm like, "Great, man. How's Big Daddy doing?" Because we didn't cross paths for a long time because he went on the road to do his own thing. So he just set me that match with me and Bundy when I was a heel. I was out of shape. I haven't worked for 7 years at that point. That was the night Bundy told me I was going over, and I said, "No, you're out of your mind. I'm not doing that." But that was great working with Chris again. That was 1999, and yeah,
Daddy's got quite an extensive range of footage.
Oh, you got to see his pictures, man. He took pictures with everyone. I'll give him this. He had balls, because we couldn't do that. We couldn't ask
They,
for that. If we asked for that, they would have told me that they would have said, "What are you, Mark?" We
yeah.
couldn't ask for pictures with you. But Big Daddy didn't care, man. God bless him. He's got pictures of Bruno. He's got pictures with everyone.
Has he
Everyone.
got? There's one thing I want that man to do, and that is to find Scott Colton to prove it's not Randy Hogan. Can you do that for us, Big Daddy? That's what I want you to do. We said if
Well, he
anyone
will.
could do it, it's you.
It is. If anybody could do it, it's Big Daddy. He will find is Scott Colton. If he can't find Scott Colton, he will get back to you and say
It's
Scott
Randy
Colton
Hogan.
is Randy Hogan. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
We,
yeah.
we had a great show there if people want to check it out. With two great shows with Randy and one with Dwayne Gill. He was brilliant as well, wasn't he?
Oh my God, Gilbert. I mean, that guy was. Well, I wish I had his career, boy. And he made money too. I didn't make shit. He made money.
He's on it. He's on it.
He's on it. He's on it.
Can we actually never talked about this, but I seen you on the big podcast recently on Hannibal's podcast, and you were talking about the time that you were on. What did Vince call that? The talk show? Do you remember you were on? Then I found the footage of it. What was it called?
Tuesday Night Titans.
Tuesday Night Titans. That's what it was. Can you explain to me how that came about? And I know there's a specific story to this episode.
Well, I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was March of '85 or May of '85,
I think it was
but
May.
in May of '85, I I walked into Poughkeepsie, and Howard Finkel came walking up to me, and he went, "Mario," and I went, "Yeah, yeah, Howard." He goes, "We need you to Landover, Maryland next Tuesday." I said, "To work?" He's like, "No, for Tuesday Night Titans." So Tuesday Night Titans. He went, "Yes, you're going on Tuesday Night Titans." I said, "Oh, okay." And I sat down and I said, "It happens that fast. It happens that fast. Well, I wonder what they're going to do with me. Oh my God, I'm getting my break. This is it. This is it.
Yeah,
I'm going on Tuesday Night Titans. Only superstars go on Tuesday Night Titans."
yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. Then Pete Doherty came up to me. Hey, Mario. I go, "Yeah, Pete. Hey, are you going to Landover next week?" I go, "Yeah." "Oh, yeah, me too." So I go up to Rusty Brooks and I go, "Hey, Rusty, you going to Landover, Maryland next Tuesday?" "Yeah, you going?" I'm like, "Uh-huh." And of course, Lombardi. I said, "Hey, Mario, you going? Did they tell you to go to Landover next week?" "Yeah." So I walk up to Howard Finkel and I go, "Hey, Howard, what's this show about?" He goes, "The Unsung Heroes of Wrestling, the losers."
God.
"The Unsung Heroes of Wrestling, the losers." I went, "Oh, okay." And of course, Roma was in on that, and
He was there as well, wasn't he?
I was sitting right next to
Yeah,
him.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so that's how that came about, and we did the show, and they actually edited it, and now that everything's over with Lombardi, I've always wanted to say this, but I would never say anything nice, but I'm going to say it now. They edited that because Steve really did a good job at trying to egg us on, and Roma and I just wouldn't catch on. He really did. These guys like this who always lose their matches, they don't know what they're doing. They're not as hungry as I am. And in retrospect, I should have got out of my chair and said, "Lombardi, you got a big mouth. Something could have started there," and I just didn't. I didn't do it, and they edited a lot of that out. And in fact, when our segment was over, Lombardi said, "Was that okay?" And Vince said, "Well, the set stayed in one piece, but yeah." And I looked. You could ask Roma. I looked at Roma. I go, if I knew he wanted us to wreck the set, I would have gladly done it. I,
Yeah, so this was kind of like a new thing for you guys then being the TV studio. So like none of this was scripted, was it? Like what kind of pointers did you get, if any?
none of it was scripted. You know what I mean? We just went out there, and then we did that unknown comic thing, and I did the Rock'em Sock'em Robots with them, but nothing was told us. Was to just show up, and then they introduced us, and then he showed that clip of that kid with David Sammartino banging his head, and then he asked us questions about that. Then he showed a clip with me with Bundy, and they even edited that out because I had said to Vince, I said, Mr. McMahon, like you always say on your commentary, one wrong slip and my career could skyrocket. Because he goes, what what makes you sign a contract to wrestle a man like King Kong Bundy, Mario?
Yeah.
And I explained that I was 18 years old, and and then I said, your own commentary, you say, one wrong move, and I could get a 3 count in my career could sky. They even edited that out too, because I remember saying it. Um, but yeah, I mean, if I knew, we knew nothing. And you got to remember something, Maurice. That was a month before my 19th birthday. So put
Mm.
yourself in my shoes. You're 18 years old. You're
Yeah,
with the
first
biggest
year. Yeah.
wrestling, yeah, biggest wrestling company on the planet. You know what I mean? You can't even believe that you're there. I mean, I think for the first 2, I couldn't believe I was there. And then, of course, after that, everything started settling in. You know,
Mm.
and so, even seeing Andre, you know, a half a dozen times on a monthly basis was no big deal anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was just one of the boys.
Have you any memories of? I don't know if you met him too much, but the Iron Sheik. Oh, he's gone. He's gone missing from his own show, ladies and gentlemen. We will try get him back. There he is. Oh, I don't know what's going on. You're on mute. Let me try and unmute you. No, you're on mute, so you're going to have to unmute yourself.
You got me?
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
The Iron Sheik, another man that comes up a lot.
What about him?
Tell me everything you know about him.
Oh God.
Does he actually does he hate Hulk Hogan as much as he does online?
Oh, you know
Does
what?
he,
Here's
man? Do you see his Twitter page?
yeah, but
Like
you know
nearly
what?
every day. Fuck Hulk Hogan.
Listen, it's a gimmick. Well,
Yeah.
let me tell you, Sheik. Sheik loves everybody.
Mm.
Sheik loves everybody. Sheik is one of the most patriotic people in this country. Um, he's a really good guy. He's just really messed up. He might have some hard feelings with Hogan. When he might have. Listen, I have hard feelings, and I was nowhere near. I have. I'll always have hard feelings with Taker now. Always, always. So
Yeah.
you know what? Here's the thing with the Iron Sheik. As funny as he was, he did a favor, a big favor for Hulk Hogan. And I still can't believe I was there that night. The only film clip I ever saw that put chills down my spine going, I was there. And that was 7 months before I broke in. But it all came back to me that Tony Altomar took me there that night. Um, I was helping the Sheik back to the dressing room after Hogan took the belt from him. Sheik is a very prideful guy, and this is what you and everybody else that listens to this podcast has to understand. When you can really shoot, when you can really wrestle, and especially knowing that the guy you're putting over, you can break in half in 2 seconds. That's really doing somebody a big favor. Sheik had the belt. I'm sure he didn't want to give the belt up. But here's the thing. Vince Jr. made him the bridge for a month, made him the
Yeah.
bridge, but promised him that he would put another belt on him. And he kept his promise, making him and Nikolai tag team champions. But I think the Sheik would have liked to be remembered. I think if Hogan came on with an interview like he does with Andre about WrestleMania, is the only way Hogan was going over in WrestleMania is that Andre let him go over. All right? Yeah. Kind of the same thing with Sheik. Sheik let him go over. He let him take that belt from him. Plus on top of it, you had a $100,000 promise from Vern Gagne to break his leg and not give him the belt.
Yeah.
So, I think Sheik might feel like Hogan owes him a little more than Hogan might think.
Probably doesn't get enough credit, really.
Sheik was an incredible athlete. I loved working with him. He was really good. He and Nikolai were really good. I knew I really got excited when I was going to work with them because I knew I was going to get like maybe 3 or 4 different suplexes. Although he herniated a disc on me on one of them because he was too coked up, but
oh Jesus!
I knew I was going to get a lot of suplexes from him. I like suplexes, so yeah. I mean, Sheik. One night I went into the dressing room and everybody was going, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." I go, "What's the rib? I don't get it." And they're going, "Thank you, thank you." Well, Nikolai went around and told everybody the story. He and Sheik were rooming together, and Nikolai went out. Sheik stayed in, and Sheik must have got himself a ring rat. And it was late, and Nikolai came in the room, and it was dark, and he heard, "Thank you, thank you." So Nikolai put on the light. Sheik was 69, and so every time the woman,
oh my God,
rocked backwards from the 69, every time the woman rocked backwards from the 69, she was kissing her ass, going, "Thank you, thank you." Oh, God.
Have we just went to new highs or new lows? He's after knocking his camera off again on his own show. This is madness. The Iron Sheik 69, and that's where we're at.
These are the hazards of being on the phone. Another time, he was getting on an airplane. I wasn't there. You
And
got a
Paul
middle
doesn't
seat.
remember a lot of stories, doesn't he? Now?
Listen, you got a middle seat, right? So he goes on the airplane. And he goes, "Excuse me, ma'am. I am the Iron Sheik WWF champion. Please, ma'am, I need to sit on the end. Will you change seats with me?" And she goes, "No, ma'am, please. I cannot sit in the middle. I am the Iron Sheik WWF. I can't. Please, ma'am. Can I sit in your seat? You move over into my seat." She goes, "No." She goes, "You fucking whore. You fucking bitch motherfucking." She gets all alarmed. The flight attendants come over and they're going, "What happened? What happened?" She goes, "He called me a bunch of," and she's telling them the story. And they go, "Did you do that?" And he goes, "They just speak no English."
Oh my God.
She goes, "I speak no English."
Brilliant.
Oh God. Oh.
Ian is saying it must be a long drive. You haven't got that much longer left now, have you? He's training wrestling school tonight.
Yeah, actually I probably got another 20, 25. I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh, some heavy traffic coming back, but yeah, the Iron Sheik, man, he was a good guy. It was listen, Sheik will forever. If Sheik called me up for a favor, I'd do it for him. Let me tell you something. Bruno Sammartino was downstairs outside of a dressing room. I don't know where, when, or how. Three guys were down there.
Hmm.
And this was not in the dressing room, it was outside the dressing room in the arena downstairs. And these three guys started giving Bruno a hard time. And they attacked him. Sheik came out of the shower naked, beat the shit out of all three of them.
Wow.
All three of them.
Hmm.
Sheik was, it's amazing he's still alive. Amazing.
Yeah. He's still going. So look, I like the last. Oh, he's gone again, and I had a really good question for him. He's gone again. Oh, he's
Right.
back. He's back. So look, I've been noticing that you've been going to training school a lot lately, right? This month is the Royal Rumble. Are you training for a return?
Um, I think if there was a WWE cemetery, I think as of last month, my headstone would be in that cemetery. I think Vince McMahon watched the 9 lives of Vince McMahon. I think he knows clearly, beyond a doubt, that I am in the corner and still am in the corner of Rita Chatterton. And I am no longer affiliated with the WWE. No one has checked the network to see if my matches are still in there.
Ah, I think they will be.
Uh, I think if there's a fifth WWE encyclopedia, I don't think I'd be in it. The thing about it is the thing that's unfair is he does wrong, right?
Hmm.
So even if it's almost like a little kid. Even if he did wrong, you can't speak against them because that's Vince. It's the
Yeah.
emperor. You keep your mouth shut. Even if he did wrong, keep your mouth shut. Well, life doesn't work that
Yeah.
way.
People
So
still. I know. Look, I say this all the time. People still think that he's not running the show, or he doesn't have any input into the show at all. And like, it's still the same TV show. It's nothing has changed, and people are. There was this kind of stupid shit that they're doing with Bray Wyatt again. With like, they brought in his uncle, and then his uncle attacked him last week. It's like it's all been seen before, with this character as well. That's happening again, but no one dare criticize Triple H because Triple H is in charge.
Well, listen, I said it from day one, and I'll say it again. He won't have control of that company when he's dead. When he's dead, he can't control it anymore. Until then, he's going to control it. And if anybody thinks otherwise, they're a fool.
Yeah.
They're a fool. So, but I think Gilbert has a better shot in getting called back for the Royal Rumble than me.
Yeah, Gilbert and Luke have both made the news. Bushwhacker Luke wanted to come back in as well. He deserves it, man. 76. That'd be cool.
I was always nervous to be called back anyway. Really, because of the status I was in the company with. So I just imagine that they're going to say, Mario, get dressed in some decent clothes, but some clothes that you're not too attached to. Because I could just imagine what they would have put me through. Ripping my clothes off, and freaking beating the living daylights out of me, because that's what you did to Mario Mancini. You know what I mean? You beat the hell out of him. Why would things change now? So if they called me in for something, I'm like, oh man, I'm getting a beating somewhere. So it's like, they're sure not going to put me over, but I don't know. I never listen. There's other guys than me, man. There's Barry Horowitz and Gilbert and Lombardi. Um, there's a lot of other guys that could call back other than me. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I don't want to go back. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. You know what I mean? So it's like what we just talked about with TNT. Nobody told us a thing. We got greeted. We got waited to get called out. We got called out. We sat down. We didn't even know it was coming.
Okay, we'll finish on this one. Any Bob Backlund stories Ian wants to know?
Bob Backlund I came in right after he left.
Okay.
But I did meet Bob Backlund afterwards. In fact, I had Bob Backlund at one of my PAPW shows. No, the only thing is the guys are hard on Backlund. You know what I mean? If you watch podcasts with Superstar Billy Graham, the funny story Graham tells is the month before, either the week before or the month before, he used to drop the belt to Backlund. He was working with Sammartino in a cage. And he said, Bruno, I'm going to throw you out of that cage. And Bruno said, Billy, please don't do that. He goes, I'm so tired. I don't want that thing. I don't want that belt. Please, no. He goes, what's the matter? He goes, I just can't believe they're going to give it to this kid. He's like, he can't carry it. He can't carry it. And Superstar Billy Graham believes to this day, you know what? When you really think about it, marketed the right way, you might be right. Because Superstar Billy Graham says he could have been just as popular as Hulkamania. He could have carried that. Maybe he's right. Maybe he could have. But he didn't want to drop it to Backlund at all. He is very bitter about that. He didn't want to drop the belt to Backlund at all. Listen, Backlund's a straight shooter. He wasn't into any of that stuff.
Yeah.
He didn't go out drinking with the boys. He didn't do steroids. He didn't do drugs. He didn't. He was just a straight shooter, man. He still is. He still is. But a lot of people listen. That's why he had to run the angle with Zbyszko and Sammartino, because Backlund couldn't sell out Madison Square Garden.
Not an easy thing to do either, in fairness.
No, but there were other guys. You know, I have pictures in my scrapbook from a Kodak from 1981, the New Haven Coliseum. It was Backlund against Morocco. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, Morocco was the Intercontinental Champion, but you know what? He could have been the heavyweight champion very easily. So could have Ordendorff. They could have put the strap around him too, man. You know, a lot of guys were underused.
Yeah.
So
well, we're gonna do 2 shows this month because I couldn't get a guest for today, so we just kind of winged through a show there. But I do have a guest for the end of the month, and it may be someone that you haven't met before, again from a different era. Do you enjoy those ones more, or would you like to get someone that you worked with more in these podcasts?
I could work with anybody. You get anybody you want, I could work with anybody.
Okay, well, we've got James Ellsworth. That's who your next guest is going to be on the Mario Mancini show. Okay. Do you know James?
I heard of him. What gimmick did he have?
He had like he had a few gimmicks in WWE. He's a real small guy, so they kind of had him losing a lot of matches, kind of like what Gilbert was doing as well. Then they had him briefly as a manager. I'll send you on some of his work, and you can have a look at him before we talk to him. Interesting guy, nice guy. I've had him on before, so the next time he's on, we'll have you on as well, and we'll have a bit of banter like last time.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Well, look, enjoy wrestling training tonight. It was a pleasure to catch up with you again, and we'll see you around the. I haven't got the exact date yet, but it's near the end of the month, and I'll make sure that you're free that night. Because I keep picking the wrong nights.
Yeah, I got a show on the 28th for PAPW. That's about it. But
the 28th is a Saturday.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
Yeah, and we'll catch up soon.
This is Mario Mancini from the car.
Yeah, just let me get it. I'll give you full screen.
This is Mario Mancini from the car saying adieu, and never forget, ti amo, Egeline. All right. Till next couple weeks.
Yeah. Good night, sir.
Good night.